Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I decided that I want to die.
I don't like where this is going. We do not care.
Meme review!
Welcome back to Meme Review, the only place where you can get Drew Davis hate comments on a video that he's not even in. I'm your host, Nickens, and today we've got the Preds versus the Cats. I mean, already, this is going to be a battle for what I think is going to be some seeding between these old AL teams, and it's going to be a dynamic game. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's jump right into it. In Game 1, we had an absolute beatdown by the Predators, a 5-1 win after Ryan Kratch completely dealt on the mound through inning 1 and 2. But in inning 3, it was kind of an omen for how the rest of the game was going to go. Kyle Schultz finally got his first hit of the season. Sean Hornberger was looking better. Jackson Pearson was getting some hits. And it looked like, even though, the Predators have Ryan Kratch, and he's dealing so well, he's being amazing from the plate. It looked like the Wildcats were really seeing him and were going to be able to really improve on Game 1. And that is exactly what happened. So while Kratch was putting on an MVP performance with a home run, on the other side, Patrick Ballman went from a Cy Young candidate to looking like he wanted to die young, and especially after these Preds hitters were able to see him so well. I don't know if it was location or these Preds guys are just that good, but unfortunately, Patrick Ballman was not able to secure the outs like he was against the Cobras. Maybe Patrick needs to play in the rain more often, or the Preds just kind of have those elite hitters. They got Kratch, they got Levi, and when Brennan and Alec turn it on, they play really well. But Patrick just did not have the good stuff for today against the Predators, and that sometimes happens. He needed a lot more help from his bats, and he wasn't able to do that. And we got to see Sean Hornberger, who was able to get 2 consecutive outs, which is at least good for my fantasy. But I would still like to see, hopefully Kyle put Sean in more. But you got a lot of options, and I think that's probably the takeaway. Even though the Cats lost this first game, is that they got options. They got Ballman if he's playing well. They've got Hornberger. They've got JP. And so it'll be interesting to see how they build off of this. But Cats still have some weaknesses. If they are not firing on all cylinders, if they're not getting the outs that they need, it can become a little bit of a test for them. And so they really need guys like Ty Frenznick. They need their bats like with Hornberger, and Kyle cannot go 0 for 13 in a game. So still a lot to go, but that means there's a lot of improvements and room to improve for the Cats. So next up in Game 2, we had an absolute wrecking in the other direction where the Wildcats beat the Preds 6-1. And this is when I think the Predators fans started to have a little bit of issues in the comments. And man, were they upset. I think they all collectively realized at the same time that everything that they thought and had worked for with this offseason and getting Evan Porter and Levi Fleer, is that the problems are still all there. They still have the same issue. And if Evan is not there, man, they're going to be struggling. Calls for Warda to retire, calls for Brendan to retire, calls for just somebody to give Kratch help. Please, for the love of God, get Stephen McGlade off the mound. Everything. And unfortunately, it seems like if Evan Porter is not there to be the spark plug, the Preds are going to struggle. And maybe this is just a one-off thing. But it seems like all the same problems are still there for the Predators, whether it's defense, whether it is pitching. It just seems like it's all there, and Ryan Kratch just having to carry this team limb by limb, crawling on the ground to first base every single time, dragging the weight of his team behind him. And at this point, I can sympathize with Pred fans. I mean, it is tough to watch the same thing happen over again, where Kratch has to really be the crutch for this team. And if Crash doesn't play well or Crash doesn't do everything he has to do for them to win, it just feels like the Preds can fall apart in a series. And that at some point you have to ask the question, like, what is the changes that do need to be made for this team? Um, Overall, I think there does need to be a little bit of quiet now. We can see that overall, like, the Preds are going to be fine, especially with Evan Porter back in the lineup for next time. He should be healthy, um, but we can't say that this is the Preds falling apart, because we need to give credit to where the credit is due and say that the Wildcats played absolutely fantastic for the rest of the series. And this is due to the fact that Kyle finally got his hit. He was going on base. He's starting to see the ball better. You've got Pearson, who was playing well both on the mound and at the plate. You got Ballman chiming in, getting a home run. And so overall, like, I think you've got to give it to the Wildcats. You gotta praise them for what they're doing, because hey, they're finally getting back into rhythm. They are getting things going. Their team is finally getting together. They're pulling all the pieces right. And this is exactly what Kyle wanted. This is the team that he saw from the beginning. And you know what? I can take the L. I can say, you know what? I understand that I rated the Wildcats probably a little too low after that first game. They did not play the best. But when they're firing on all cylinders, man, that's a team that is going to be dangerous. And so I'm interested to see. It seems like they just have so many options, and decision fatigue and making sure you're doing everything right, I think, is a tough thing. And so I hope to see what happens in the future. I'm still not completely bought into the Wildcats, but I will raise them in my power rankings. I think they've earned it. But I need to see more out of them, especially in the future.
I want to see my little boy.
Here he comes.
I want to see my little boy.
And Game 3 story has got to be Jackson Pearson going toe-to-toe with Ryan Cratch, getting the run support that he needs from the Wildcats, in absolutely shutting down the Preds offense, giving something up to Ryan Cratch. Ryan Cratch played amazing. I really don't need to go on and on. 4 home runs, playing so good in pitching from the mound. I mean, even though he let those 3 runs up, he was still diddling. But when you're playing on this team right now, it seems like you can't make a mistake if you're crashed, especially if Evan Porter's not there. And instead, Jackson Pearson, I mean, he really held it down after that first at bat. Other than that, Jackson Pearson held down the fort, and that's exactly what you need. Even though Jackson Pearson had a really rough 2024, it seems like he really put the work in. He's ready to go. We can forgive him for what he did to the Wildcats, but man, that's what I'm saying. They've got options. There's places they can go. They can turn to Sean. They can turn to PB. I mean, especially after people start seeing them at the plate. And I think that's a good place to be in. As far as the Preds, Warda and Brennan have got to do better. That's what I was saying. If Levi and Kratch are doing super well, they can kind of play that tertiary role where they can really do support. But if Levi and Kratch aren't necessarily dealing, if they're having to take all the weight and they're not firing, then it looks like the Predators are just not able to get all the offense they need, and that really showed today. And I can understand if you're a Preds fan feeling upset, like you were expecting this season to be a lot different, and it looks like it's like every other season it has been since around 2022. I mean, Crash doing it all, and hopefully hoping that somebody else can pick it up. Whether that it was Warda way back, or whether that is Levi Fleer now at the plate, or Evan Porter. It seems like you're always going into every game nervous that Crash doesn't have to do it on his own. So overall, I am a little probably more down on the Preds than I was coming in, but I think that also comes with the caveat that they didn't have Evan Porter, and the Wildcats really improved from last game, and looked a lot better. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you guys high on the Wildcats now? Are you guys lower on the Preds? What do you guys think? This is a fluke game. Let me know what y'all think, and I will see you guys next time.